Okay, deconstructing Christian here, so prepare to be offended. Um, so another funny, not funny story. This was at a church in Denver, Colorado, and I was pretty heavy into the evangelical movement, associated with Bethel, associated with Couch the Fire, associated with a lot of heavy names that were associated with the evangelical movement. John and Carol Arnott, Father Heart Ministries, Bill Johnson, Chris Valentin, Sean Bowles. I know there's a lot of stuff coming out about his essay, Misconduct, um, and then Bethel trying to cover up. Um, because if you don't address it and then you're found out by not having addressed it, you are hedging off being found out. You're not being proactive in stopping the abuse. Many abused victims came to them, um, and they did not address it at the time. This is what's coming out now. So I remember going to this church, and again, it was very big in following Bethel music, Hillsong music, Bethel teachings, etc. So there was a lot of gifts of the Spirit, which speaking in tongues, prophecy, words of knowledge, falling out in the Spirit, dancing in the Spirit. I mean, like all kinds of things. And so I went to a lot of those churches and conferences and all that kind of stuff. In fact, I dedicated to a couple years of my life traveling and doing that kind of thing. Um, Again, there were some great people that helped me along the way, and I'm very thankful for that. Um, so getting off topic. So if you know anything about church, especially evangelicals, there was an altar call. Well, this was a call to come to the front of the church for prayer. And it was a pretty big conference. It wasn't a church service because there were special speakers, and I can't remember who they are at the moment, but they're again big within the um, evangelical charismatic movement church. And there are these two ladies. I walked up to them, and I don't remember what I asked for prayer, but I was in the throes of still standing for my marriage from my second with my second husband. Um, Infidelity, oh, awful. Yep, that one still really affects me in talking about it. Um, this is over a decade ago. Hmm. The betrayal was probably the worst. It was the worst betrayal. I know you heard about my third husband that I mentioned was violent. And that was really bad. But the betrayal in this second one was the absolute worst. And I can talk about more of that later. But I went up for prayer because, in a sense, I was still sort of standing for my marriage, hoping that he would come back. I mean, I was told prophetically by church leaders, pastors, um, just spiritual leaders in general, that he was going to come back. They couldn't see my relationship broken with him. And so it was an encouragement to continue to still stand for my marriage and don't, oh man, I will tell you some of the crazy tweaky things that you're supposed to look out for as God confirming that your marriage is going to be restored. And it led me down this really tweaky road of like not thinking for myself and not really living in reality and desperately hoping for him to come back. And so I would reach out at certain points in time to him, which just made me look more crazy. I don't know if anybody's ever seen the documentary Twin Flames. If you haven't, go watch it, but it's very triggering. At least it was for me. And that's very similar. There's one girl in there. Um, she ended up getting like restraining order put against her from her ex because that the cult group kept telling her she's supposed to be with him and she just has to pursue him harder. Yeah, I mean, I didn't have that against me, but that's what that reminded me of. I was like, that sounds like me. Like, this was the kind of motive and support pushing me to stand for my marriage. Not only was that because I grew up with that mentality of, you get married one time only, it's forever. You save yourself for marriage, like purity culture, sick, 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 so many different components. And so I believed I was supposed to be standing for my marriage. I mean, I tried to stand for my first one, and I still haven't told the entire story about that. Second one was shocking because this person ended up being my best friend. And yeah, that's a whole story I'll have to share. So I was just going to tell the funny haha of how I was at this church and obviously still interceding for my marriage and all this stuff. And um I went up to these two ladies, and I remember standing there and I had my eyes closed. And one lady, I think either one lady had her hand like on my chest and another lady had her hand on my back, or they both had one hand on front and one hand on back. But they were pushing me to fall out in the spirit. Like, and I remember thinking in my mind, are you kidding me? Like, I'm not going to fake feeling the Holy Spirit. And if you've heard that terminology, it's like this feeling that comes over you. It's like goosebumps, it's like weak legs, like it's like it's like a drunk feeling. And then you just fall down, and some people convulse, some people sing, some people pray, some people sleep. And these ladies were trying to get me to do that. Like, if you ever watched Benny Hinn, I don't know if anybody knows who that is. Like, if you ever watched Benny Hinn, like he would go pray for people and like hit them on the head to like knock them over, and you would see people just fall back. And I remember in that moment being like, I'm not going to fall back if that's not like what's happening to me. Like, if the Holy Spirit is not actually filling me and going to knock me over, then I'm not going to do it. Like, this isn't going to be fake. Again, the justice part of my ADHD, my brain, I've been this way my entire life. Like, I literally go tell on myself. Like, I go tell my mom I just had cookies. You know what I mean? Like, my honesty gets me in trouble. And I'm so fearful of not telling the truth that I end up telling too much, I think, at times, and it confuses the situation further. My partner now, who, again, like I had mentioned that I'm in a safe relationship with, he was laughing about that the other day because he was like, yeah, that's very, very much you. And so it has gotten me in trouble in the past, but these two ladies are literally trying to push me down. So, and what it is in those moments is that they needed that for themselves to look like they were holy. It wasn't about me. It wasn't about prayer. It wasn't about me finding myself in the Holy Spirit or experiencing God or anything like that. That it was solely about performance. And they were trying to push me over in the spirit to make themselves look like they were these great leaders. And look what we did. We made this girl fall out in the spirit, and she's, doing whatever. And I just, oh my God, it still makes me so mad. Literally, like, I'm one of those people, the justice part of me like wants me, I just want to go shake them and be like, are you kidding me? Like, how could you be this fake? But but I have also been that person where there's just this insatiable need to be seen and known. And so you say things or do things to try to look holy and like you are someone of importance. And that's what happens in Christian circles. And that's what starts to drive a cult. Yeah. So, anyway, if you guys want to comment, love to hear your comments in regards to what your thoughts are about. Have you had any experiences like this? And do I sound crazy? I feel like as I'm unpacking, my therapist at one point, I said something to her and she was like, that's not this story, but something else. She's like, it's a little weird. I was like, it is? Okay. Glad to hear that. So, anyway, yeah, curious thoughts. Thanks, guys.